Yes, people, yes, people, yes, people. Welcome back to the We Talk Football podcast. We're recording in a different setting today and we're being joined by the one and only Flex of the United View. How you doing, man?
Big up, man. I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate that.
No problem. Obviously, we know there's been a tumultuous season, to say the least, for Manchester United. One of the worst United seasons in my memory. Definitely since the David Moyes season where he first took over from Alex Ferguson. Kind of just want to get your views on the season overall. How do you think Oli did? How do you think Ranić did when he took over? And just kind of review Man United's 21-22 season overall.
How long's your podcast? how long do you lot normally do?
We do about 12 to 15 minutes, bro.
12 to 15 minutes, mate. You might want to do an hour special, innit? You might want to do an hour special. I don't even know where to start. Everything that went wrong. It's our worst Premier League finish. It's our worst Premier League season by points, by stats, by fact ever we've had. And it's just a real indication as to where the club actually is in the mud, to be honest. Bad decisions being made, no structure at the football club, no direction. And me as a fan and us as fans, as United fans, you know, we were led down the garden path as well. I was in that category of fans that was, you know, when we signed Sancho, Ronaldo and Varane after finishing second, I didn't believe Oli could deliver us the Premier League or anything, but I said, right, okay, well, we should be challenging now. There's no excuses. And my God, were we wrong? You know what I mean? So everything is just, I think all the failings of the football club in the last 10 years, all the bad decisions, all the lack of direction, all the lack of real guidance has come to fruition in the last, this year, this season has come to fruition. And what you're seeing is not just indicative of this season and a lack of planning in this recent era. This is what we're seeing over the last 10 years all come to the forefront.
I mean, that's a pretty damning assessment of Man United. I mean, to put a slightly positive spin on the video, can you think of any positives that have come from this season?
The fact that there is no more hiding places and it has genuinely hit rock bottom. I feel, and that sounds weird because it's like a false positive, but it is, because I think for Manchester United to be able to rebuild properly, you know, scamming our way into the top four just would have papered over cracks. You know, even some may say, even you're lucky to get Conference League. Europa League, sorry. We're the only team, you know, we didn't even win our last game, which we kind of had to do. Luckily, Brighton done us a favour after smashing us 4-0 the game before. But to put it lightly, is that it's a great situation that everything has been hung out in the open. There's no hiding places, and everyone can see just how bad the football club is at and where it's at. And the people actually who make the decisions at the football club look like they're starting to gut out everything that needs gutting out. So that's kind of the only positive, really, because there isn't from the season. And you can say it's been nice to see Ronaldo, you know, still keep his standards high and still perform when so many people thought he couldn't. Yes, there's question marks over, is that the right thing for the future? Is that But for me as a Man United fan, to see him come back in the flesh and do some of the things he's been able to do this season, that's a bit of a positive. But other than that, no, there's none.
And talk on Ronaldo a little bit, because that's what I was going to ask you. When he came in, there was a lot of fanfare, like you touched on. You brought in Rafael Varane, you brought in Jadon Sancho, and you brought in Cristiano Ronaldo. And I think we were all expecting Manchester United to maybe try and close the gap between their two biggest rivals, City and Liverpool. Must be killing you this season, seeing how well those sides have been doing. And also must be killing you the fact that you were probably rooting for Man City on the final day of the season.
Absolutely. I felt sick when we were doing our live stream, sick with them 2-0 down. Absolutely sick. Getting used to Liverpool doing a quadruple, but yeah, thankfully it didn't happen.
Yeah, but Man City saved football because nobody wanted to see Liverpool in the quadruple.
Exactly, it wasn't just us.
Yeah, exactly, everybody was. But in terms of Ronaldo, he has been that saving grace for Manchester United. When it was unveiled throughout the season that Manchester United weren't at the level they were expecting them to be at, there was a lot of criticism pointed at Cristiano Ronaldo over the transfer. Was he the right man to bring in, especially if United are trying to play this progressive style of football where you press teams and you look to keep the ball? But Ronaldo kind of defied the critics and he's ended up scoring a healthy amount of Premier League goals, especially at his age. How much of an impact has Ronaldo had on United? And can you see him working beyond this season into the 22-23 season as Manchester United striker?
He's had a big impact because he's our top scorer. And single-handedly, even in a horrendous season where I literally just said there were no positives, when there was things to play for, you know, he got us out of the Champions League group, which we should never have struggled to get out of. But as Man United, being Manchester United as a team, we did single-handedly pulled us out of that with clutch goals. In the Premier League, again, back to when we were just about scraping a top 4 battle of trying to be in it, he was single-handedly keeping us in games and winning us games. So on that note, that's the impact he's had. Obviously, on a personal, if you asked Ronaldo, he would be very unhappy with this season. This is not what he does. He doesn't go anywhere and finish 6th. You know, this is the first time I think in his whole career he might have even finished that low. And it's the first time he hasn't been in Europe for like 12 years or something like that, something ridiculous. So in the Champions League, sorry. So he's had a big impact. Some people say it's been negative because of, you know, what happens with Ronaldo, his aura, his demeanor, his authority that he can bring. And some people have said that's been divisive and that's been one of Manchester United's problems. I just, me personally, I don't see how you look. I think we're in a place now where the person who has the high standards now and speaks up on it is now seen as the outcast. When, if you think of the great Manchester United teams and any great team, if you had a weak mentality, your standards were low, you was the odd one out. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like he got criticism when he done an interview sort of saying that young players don't listen. And when I was younger, I used to listen, et cetera, et cetera. And some people saw that as, oh, don't throw the team under the bus and da-da-da-da. But at the end of the day, all these things needed to happen, which goes back to my first point of why it's been the only positive to come out of the season, which is let everything out in the open. Let Manchester United be seen as what they are, which is a broken institution, a broken football club. So yeah, he's had a big impact. And going forward, do I think he can work under Erik ten Hag? Absolutely. I think people will say he doesn't press and he can't do this and he can't do that. And Erik ten Hag's already come in straight away and put that to bed and said, yes, he brings goals. I need him. Yeah. Erik ten Hag's got a lot to fix at Man United, a lot. And he has to start somewhere. Ronaldo's only got 1 year left on his deal, could extend after that for a further year, but there's 1 more year left. Erik ten Hag in his first season, which is going to be undoubtedly very, very difficult with loads of players leaving, loads of players coming in, he needs constants. Manchester United doesn't have many constants. The only constants they have is that Ronaldo's going to score you goals and De Gea is going to save you shots. That's all they have. Even De Gea, he might not fit in with his feet and the way he commands his area and how Ten Hag wants to play. Not an issue because in this season, in his first season, because Ten Hag's got so much to fix. So they're the only 2 constants he can actually rely on in the whole team. So for me, Ronaldo has to stay. He needs help. He needs another forward. Don't get me wrong. We need to buy another forward. He can't be playing all the games and as heavily reliant on Ronaldo as we have, but he can definitely play on the Ten Hag for me.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And I think Erik ten Hag has come in and he said all the right things. You know, he said all the, you know, it's now action that needs to happen. What are the first things that you really think he needs to address other than the apparent issues that you've already mentioned?
Oh, mate, he's got such a hard job, man. He's got such a big job. It's like there isn't really a wrong answer of where to start first because there's so much, you know. I think the biggest thing for me, which will happen by default, is the players that are going to be out need to get out. That's the first thing. That's naturally going to happen with the likes of Lingard, the likes of Pogba. Matic has already gone. I'm sure there'll be more to follow. Martial, Bailly, Henderson, you know, players like this. The list goes on. Those players need to come out and need to work out what he's left with. And we must improve at fullback. Well, there's talks of us getting 4 signings as a minimum, as a minimum. And that, to me, needs to be in our starting 11. We need fullback. There's talks of Wan-Bissaka being sold. Rightly so. Not good enough. Not up to it. Not at the required level. Centre half, big question marks there. You know, linked to Jurriën Timber. Looks like that's going to potentially get done. Obviously, he's just had him at Ajax. Really good up-and-coming centre half. That needs sorting out. Central midfield, Pogba's going to leave. Matic has left. McTominay and Fred, we know they're not up to it. So again, major surgery in there. So he has to start by identifying how we want to play and making that the fundamental of every decision. Every decision needs to be based around that. And if players aren't up to doing that, they need to be phased out in phases because I get you can't do it all in one window. And the players that need to be brought in, which they've been talking about already, need to fit that profile and fit that style. That's for me where he needs to start.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And do you feel like Man United still have the allure of being that institutional big club, or do you think it's apparent for, young players? You look at, Man United really haven't been at the top of the game for the best part of 10 years. So you look at players that are, Mbappe, for example, he might not have been looking at Man United when he was growing up. Do you think Man United have still got that allure to bring your top players? I know you've been linked with Declan Rice for, quite a long time. Does Declan Rice look at Man United and want to go there now?
It depends on the player. Definitely, the law is not the same. 100%, it can't be. We're looking at Frankie de Jong at the minute. Fantastic player. Doesn't want to leave. Man United are in the Champions League. Why does he want to come? Do you know what I mean? Erik Ten Hag is the only weapon we have to make him come, because he used to be his manager. But having said that, Manchester United financial power and the law of players in terms of you could be part of restoring it is still a sell. Do you know what I mean? And whatever player it is, within reason, money talks as well, which kind of has been part of our problem. You can't just throw money at it and get the wrong type of players. But when you do want to sign a player, someone like Declan Rice, you could say to him, okay, well, we're going to double your wages, maybe even triple your wages. And you're going to be in a big contract, and you're going to be the engine. The whole midfield's going to be built around you. That could be attractive to him because he can see the long-term thing. But, we are still missing out on a lot of players. We were interested in Camavinga last year, went to Real Madrid. Being interested in the likes of Tchouaméni this year. He's not going to come. He's going to go to probably Real Madrid, it looks like, as well. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of young talent that's been out there that have, Jude Bellingham came to Old Trafford and went to Carrington and looked around with his parents and said, nah, you're right, I'll go to Dortmund. That's better for my career, which it is. It is better for his career. Now look at Jude Bellingham. He's probably going to be the next £100 million player back into the Premier League, similar to a Jadon Sancho. You look at Erling Haaland. Ollie gave him his debut at Molde, and he's this Norwegian compatriot. He was always in contact with him, phoned him, said, do you want to come Man United, mate? He said, you're right, I'll go Dortmund. And now look at Erling Haaland. He's going to the Premier League champion. So to answer your question, no, Man United does not have the same pool. We can't get the best of the best at this precise moment, because I would actually question why the best of the best would want to come here. I am a Man United fan, but I haven't got rose-tinted glasses to just keep thinking, but it's amazing. It's the theatre of dreams. It's this, it's that. Yeah, but for your career, if you want to, Manchester United aren't winning titles anytime soon. They're definitely not going to win the Champions League next year because they're not in it. So what would you be coming for? You'd have to weigh that up. If you're at the top of your game, like if Mbappe wanted to come to Man United, I would seriously question why. Although I'd be happy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we don't have the same law now. We don't.
And that you've touched on a few names there, some of them centre midfielders. And you talked about Manchester United being able to throw money at situations. We've got a scenario. We're doing the wrap-up show with a few fans from top 6 clubs. And the scenario is, I'm going to offer you a trade, or we're going to offer you a trade. And we want to know if you'll take it.
The answer is yes to anyone. This might be easy if I just tell you the 3 players that I'd keep at Man United. So if it ain't for them, then the answer is yes, I'll trade.
Well, I think this one might give you.
I'm joking.
Cause to pause. I feel like centre midfield is a situation, an area that Manchester United have needed to strengthen for quite a while. It's an area that everybody's identified, and I think Ten Hag's going to address that when he comes to the club. In the scenario, I want you to disregard football funds and football finances.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's all fugazi. It doesn't mean a thing.
Cool.
Bruno Fernandes, a player much maligned. He's polarizing. He's polarizing. If I told you 2 years ago that Bruno Fernandes was going to be facing a lot of criticism from Manchester United fans, you'd be like, in what world? He was supposed to be the new Erik Cantona. He was supposed to be the man to lead you to success in both the Champions League and Premier League. It hasn't quite worked out. This has been probably his worst season at Manchester United. So the trade I've got for you on the table is Bruno Fernandes for N'Golo Kante, a player at Chelsea who I love, but he might be movable this summer. And we know that he could come and make a big difference at Manchester United. So Bruno Fernandes for N'Golo Kante, flex, are you taking it?
That's a big question, Kwaku, that is. I'm going to say no, but I do want Kante. And I tell you why, because I've been saying, I know this is a quick fire round, but I've been taking a lot of stick off Man United fans in all of our shows where they're saying that a lot of Man United fans don't want him. And I'm like, what planet are you on? To be honest, they're like saying, no, he's injury prone now and he's past his best. And we're making basically another Matic mistake of getting a midfielder from Chelsea who's past their best. And, we're going to throw big money at it. But I'm still saying Kante is still top 5 defensive midfielders in the world, factually for me. Still now, maybe even top 3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Top 3. I'd say top.
Yeah, and I'm having it. I'm having it all day. And if he come to Man United, he would make a big impact. And this myth that he's always injured. I looked, he still played like 40 games this year.
Still plays.
I mean, there might not all be starts, but he still played a lot of games. It's just for the swap for him directly. I wouldn't swap, but I would take N'Golo Kante 100%.
So just make clear, you're not swapping Bruno Fernandes.
Not for Bruno, because I think under Ten Hag, I think there's a lot to come from Bruno. Still, I still back him.
I respect it. You got to stick by your guys.
You don't need N'Golo Kante when you got Donny van de Beek coming back in. So
that's another one. He needs to step up as well. I want Kante. I do want Kante. I'll take him tomorrow.
Well, I think most football clubs in the world would take him. I think, like you said, he's definitely top 3 defensive midfielders, if not still the best in my eyes.
Yeah.
But as I said, there's been the quick fire episodes with you, Flex. Where can everyone find you on socials?
At FlexUTD across all socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and on United View on YouTube as well, man.
It's been a pleasure to have you on today, Flex. Where can everyone find us, Quakes?
You can find us on Twitter, WTF Podcast 90. On Instagram, it's We Talk Football Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more videos very, very soon.
Cheers, guys. Catch you next time.